So for the next one is a situation where you live in a country and it's not the greatest place to live in the world. You've just recently been married and you've decided that it's probably time that you try and get out of that country to give yourself a better break. And this is what my parents did too. But my parents came from a country that wasn't war-torn, that didn't have some issues. In this case here, it was hugely amazing and story changed from where they've come from. I want to welcome to the stage Melvin and Anna to tell their amazing story. So, the first question I'm going to ask, which is probably going to be a fairly difficult question to you, Anna, is that you've come from Kenya, that's correct? Yep. So tell us the story of what it was like to live in that country at that time.
We are, as Ian introduced us, we're originally from Kenya, and for a very long time I really had this dream to leave Kenya and look for a better life overseas. And I suffered some very sorry, I suffered some traumatic experiences.
Look, I might take over because
sure.
I think writing the story was very traumatic for Anna when we started, because it opened up some things that I think were buried deep within, and that is, while we were born in Kenya, we lived there a long time. When she was young, she had been assaulted, and also, apart from that, she had experienced a coup attempt. You know how the army comes and tries to take over, and in that experience, her mom was shot. Luckily, it was not fatal. It was actually a graze, but she was 6 at the time. And she kind of remembers it like it was yesterday. So at some point in time, she found a book on the street, about 2 blocks down from where we lived. And it was a green book, which is the migration book to Australia. It was tattered. It was just, there must have been an old Australian embassy or something somewhere in town. And it was on the ground somewhere. She picked it up and kept it on her cupboard, and that's where she left it for a long time, a number of years, just dreaming to come to Australia. And I think Neighbours was one of the programs at the time that motivated her, Kylie and Jason Donovan. That's the Neighbours we remember, because we did get we had only 2 channels on TV, and you only get half an hour of Western stuff that came through.
Go on, bouncer. So you set yourself a dream, you found that book and you put it out there, and you decided to, you recently married, you had a whole lot of wedding presents, and you decided to come to Australia. You got the opportunity.
Yeah.
So what did you do?
So in January 2006, the opportunity arose for us to migrate to Australia. Sadly, at that time, we realized we had to bid farewell to our families back home, and we came in with just $10,000 in cash, no family with us, and no job in hand. And coming from a third world country, it was very scary for us, but we were very determined. So we saw it through.
You gave away all your wedding presents to your family and friends.
I did, yeah. We had to give away because we only came with 2 suitcases in hand.
Well, the freight to bring it here was wiped out.
It was going to be too costly.
All right, so you've had many attempts at many businesses and many things in life. What have you got to say about that?
Look, I've always had a motto of never giving up. And this goes back to the time I was doing my professional exams, and I was working and studying at the same time because I had to fend for the family. And I kept on failing these papers, and I kept on failing them and crying and waking up the next day and had to resit all the 3 papers again in that course. And this has followed me through to my to adulthood, where when we landed in Australia, I tried my hand in business, really trying desperately to look for a passive income. So I started businesses and they failed, kept on failing and failing.
So then you got your aha moment and you read a book.
Yes. So I was sitting at my desk one day and looking out of the window and wondering, there's got to be a way. I don't want to go back to the corporate world. So it was as if by a mystical coincidence, the book fell from the top shelf, and it was this book by Dale Beaumont, Secrets of Property Millionaires Exposed. And 3/4 through the book, there was a seminar invitation. This is where we came out and met Dimpna on stage. We were really fascinated by what she said and what we would be able to get from property. So we, bought her course, and when the course material arrived, we took 9 months and sat down with it like a university degree and studied it through and through.
And so you did whatever you could from around your mindset.
Yes.
Because apart from the 2 suitcases you were carrying, there's other baggage that you had to start to deal with.
Yeah.
I think in Dimpna's course, the one we went to at that time, some of the people she brought up front were, I don't know if they're psychologists, or I can't remember who exactly, but they were real motivational speakers, and they really talked about mindset. And we realized that even before we start reading and getting any technical knowledge, there's something that we are carrying which definitely isn't going to help us,
Absolutely. All right, so you had bought a property, and had you known Dimpna, you probably wouldn't have bought this property.
No, we wouldn't. This was a very high strata, lifts, gym, pool, you name it, everything.
So it's got a gym, it's got a pool, high strata fees, and you paid over the top for that too. Oh, it's got a lift as well. So all the 3 things you don't want to have a strata complex was in there, and you had paid too much for it too.
Yes.
You didn't know at the time, but you bought it. Now it's come good now, only recently, but because the current value's come up to where it is with Sydney, and it's sitting there at the moment at cash flow neutral for you.
Yes.
So it's sitting there nicely, doing its thing in Sydney. It wasn't a great purchase, but it's turned into a great purchase, because the difference between a good purchase and a bad purchase is somewhere between 5 to 10 years. If you wait, it'll come good, right? And there's only one property that I've seen that after 10 years isn't a positive cash flow property. And if it's not, it's because you bought really badly, or you've raped and pillaged, you've taken money out and gone and spent it somewhere else. Okay.
So actually, if I can just add something, it was at one of these kind of seminars we managed to bump into Dimpna, and we did ask her what we should do about that one, and she said something exactly like what you said, just the time will heal your sins.
So you go and you join it, you do your material, you go through, you do the boot camp, and you come off, and this is your first purchase. This is what you call a springboard, yeah?
Yes.
So let's talk about this.
All right, so this one was in a mining town, and at that point in time, it was really good, positive cash flow for us. We didn't expect the capital growth, so surprisingly, that gave us enough equity to draw out and move into our next property deal.
Okay, so let's talk about this, because there are mining properties out there that are upside down. Okay, and I want to make a note of this. This was positive. It's not positive anymore. Yeah. It's got a tenant in it, which is a great thing. In the swings and cycles of mining, if you get in at the upswing before it gets anywhere near the top, when it drops off, it will come back to hopefully where you bought it, and maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit more. This one's probably a little bit more at the moment than what you bought it, right? And you might say, well, they revalued it at $330,000, they extracted $130,000, and now that property has actually got a mortgage which is worth more than what the actual property is worth. Is everyone with me on that one? The thing is, though, the $130,000 that got pulled from that property was taken as a springboard to go and buy other properties, and that other property has to account for it. Okay, so whilst you do technically look upside down, I've got one that's upside down, I've used my money somewhere else that's made me money. Now, if you went out and revalued a mining property and went and bought another mining property, you may be in a problem now, because now both of them are dropped. All right, so I just wanted to bring that to the forefront. But this gave you income and also gave you the springboard at the time. There'll be other cycles too that you have to look at. So you go off and you bought your second property. This is Southern Sydney. Tell us about this property.
This was an old 1950s unit. I tried my hands at renovating it, and we were able to refinance it this year and draw out some equity.
Okay, so you've gone in, you've replaced the kitchen, you've replaced the bathroom, you've tidied the place up, you put someone in there, it's cash flow neutral, and you've redrawn out of this $85,000 odd this year with the growth that's happened in Sydney.
Yes.
Yep, absolutely. So fantastic. So then you go off and you buy another one in southern Sydney. You like the southern end of Sydney. Like Amy said, it's an area that you live in and you know it really well, you know your market well. So tell us about this property and what you did to it.
So with this one, it was a 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom. I converted the rumpus room into a study area and added an extra toilet. The really bad one, an incident that happened as soon as I finished the renovation on this one. 1 month after, the tenant maliciously damages the property, holes in the ceilings, holes in the walls.
So this was a tenant that was a good tenant. You know, when you got them, was that the couple?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so they were a great couple. You'd met them, but you went to do a dishwasher thing for them and whatever. You'd met them, very nice couple.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah.
But they had a split up.
Yes.
So in the split up, he didn't cope well with it, and he, did amazing things. Actually, in this unit here, you had an issue with the agent and going in there. So what happened with this one?
With the unit that we renovated as well, we found out that there were 6 people living in the unit, in my 2-bedroom unit, so that was also damaged. Luckily, we did have insurance to cover it, but we did take both the agent and the tenant to tribunal.
Yeah, and this one here, again, you're insured on this one, which meant the insurance paid for rental loss and also fixed up the property. Now this one here, you've actually got approval, have you, for a secondary dwelling?
Oh yes, that's what we're doing this year, for a secondary dwelling, a 2-bedroom granny flat.
So once it's neutral at the moment, once the granny flat's on there or the secondary dwelling, you're going to be about 7,000 passive in Sydney.
That's right.
Yeah, absolutely beautiful. Okay, so then you go out and this is the one that's really quite good for you. It's a great deal.
Yeah. This project was in the Hunter region. Took us about 12 weeks to renovate it. At that point in time, I had to travel 6 hours with my little girl. She was only 4 years at the time. So pick her up from preschool, drive 3 hours, project manage the job, and then drive back. And
but you do what you have to do.
You had to do, I had to do what I was determined to
in buying this one, it was really interesting because no one seemed to be interested in it because it was really, I think in Kristen's words,
we'll call it a
gold
crapper.
mine.
Yeah, it was a gold mine that no one could see. It was just a crapper, right?
Yeah.
And because it didn't present well, probably wasn't being sold well, but you've got 3 units in here, and you went through and you did a renovation over what period of time?
12 weeks.
12 weeks to do a complete code accessible. That's full kitchens, full bathrooms, 3 of them, 3 units, and moving through there you can see, nice job. Listen to some of the simple things to make it look nice. And nothing over the top, but very presentable and nice for a tenant to be able to live into that, right? So you can see, look at the top left-hand side. That's what it looked like before and after. You can see a massive change. Just painting the driveway is enough to really make the place pop, right? Driveways, if you want to make driveways disappear, paint them dark colours. They'll blend into backgrounds. And some just really simple polishing floorboards and making them shiny. So this one here is the final day cleanup. You got, don't you? The final day cleanup, you were running short of funds because this is the life of a property investor, right? You're always trying to find the extra funds because you're always trying to push yourself a little bit further. You had to do all the cleanups yourself.
Yeah, we did. It was the 3 units, and you'll see a picture of Ella, our daughter, who's somewhere in the crowd as well. She was helping to do the cleanup, and you can see it's very late at night, and it's a 3-hour drive back to Sydney from there. So we left there about, I think, 8 p.m. We reached back in Sydney 11 p.m. And I found the back door open. So when we went inside, we found the place had been trashed and some burglars had come and taken out some cash we had saved as a reward for this. So we had to call the police. So you can imagine how exhausted we are. This is 3 units we personally cleaned.
Yeah.
The police came pretty quick, and then they dusted it for fingerprints. And I didn't realize once you dust for fingerprints, then it's my job to clean.
And it's like they just sprayed flour everywhere. Yeah. All right, now this one is a brilliant deal. You're building yourself up here. So this one here, cash flow of $15,000, but you got all the money that you put into this deal, including your renovation, you got back, plus another $68,000 after refinance. So you can see this is a brilliant deal and what it does for you. So it gives you cash flow and it gives you a chunk. So many students go, I want to do a cash cow or I want to do a chunk deal. Do them both in one. This is a cash cow chunk deal. Every day of the week you'll do these without even thinking about it, yeah? So 2014, you go to the US, you take your daughter with you go on your own, Anna?
Yeah, I go on my own on this 5-day conference. Didn't have anyone to babysit my little one, so jumped on a plane 23 hours with her. And people were looking at me like, oh my God, is she crazy? Well, I brought her today as well. So I ended up purchasing 2 properties there. But one day prior to this conference starting, I had severe food poisoning. And I had no one to look at. The hotel wouldn't help me call the doctor. They said, you could take yourself to the doctor. And I was really sick the whole day, just vomiting. And I managed.
But you got better on the day, thankfully.
I did, yeah.
And you went off and you bought 2 in Texas. You bought 2 properties. One for 110, one for 130, one 6,100. These are Australian dollars. Passive income per year, and the other one at 9,100 passive income per year. So you took your cash from Australia off the refinancing, took it over there and bought that. So then you go off and you do another one in southern Sydney, which is working for you. Now this is a brilliant deal because it's one of my favourite strategies that I've said over and over and over again, and I've never seen anyone except 2 people do it. Tell us about this deal.
This one was a really tough one because we had a really a seller who was very tough. She didn't want us to even see the place after we had put a deposit down. He had a really good opportunity because we could create a second dwelling at the bottom of the property.
So with this property, I think that the daughter of the lady used to be a dancer. So they had designed an entire lower floor as a dance kind of studio, and the lady was difficult to allow people to go in. I think that was our opportunity because no one else was sort of getting in. So we just made the offer. After a bit of negotiation, we got in, knowing after doing the numbers that look, this will be good for us because downstairs it's a concrete floor.
Okay, so you got double brick walls and concrete as between the 2 floors. So straight away, this is my favourite strategy is go and find a house that's 5, 6, 7, 8 bedrooms, whatever it is, and find a way to chop it up so that you've got a secondary dwelling in there and the main residence in New South Wales and in other areas that's coming aboard where you can then have 2 rentals. And the cost of conversion for that was $70,000.
Yeah.
Where normally to create a secondary dwelling at the rear of a property is going to cost you $120. And this gave you value within doing that too, because now you've got 2 dwellings with rentals, right? So really great deal. Estimated new value now 1.1 to 1.2. So starting from where you were back then in when you arrived and you started doing your investing to now, you've got a huge portfolio of 10 rental properties, 12 rental properties. 12 rental properties, and you've gone from 2009, 12 rental properties, a portfolio of $3.5 million with a cash flow of $30,000 plus a secondary dwelling coming. Please give them a massive round of applause.
Thank you.
Now for you, you also are in a position where you now give back too.
Yes. It was important for us because we kept on receiving and we wanted to be able to give back. So, and this is our dream, to be able to sponsor one child every year. So we went back to Kenya and are sponsoring 2 children. And the other girl is from Bolivia. She actually shares the same birthday as my daughter. And then my dad unfortunately suffered a stroke, and he didn't make it to a hospital on time, so he's been left paralyzed. And we're helping support all his physio costs back home in Kenya. So
Good on you. You're up here, you've done what you've done. Yeah, a round of applause for Melvin. What would you say to yourself if you were sitting in the crowd today with what you know today?
well, the most important thing is the thing that really set us going was investing in our education. That was very crucial. Getting into the right mindset, and also trying to network with like-minded people, trying to inspire one another and share the journey.
And one last thing, I don't know if it applies to some people, whatever. We've not always been on the same page in terms of the property, because I was full-time employed, and I was really in quite a role that was demanding. So I had to just really support her and be like a team, to work as a team and trust her to with what she was saying a lot of the time. So it really requires that teamwork, I think.
And I will add, having sat with you last night to make sure that the numbers were right, because I wanted to check the numbers, you are on top of it, and you work really well as a team. Thank you for coming along. A round of applause. Thank you.